What's going on, everybody? Today we are going to be previewing the TCU game for October 3rd versus our Longhorns, as well as recapping that crazy Texas Tech near debacle, but somehow stealing victory out of the utter jaws of defeat. Reviewing all those, as well as some college football news. So simply put, let's get into it. But before we do so, remember, please subscribe. Your subscription, believe it or not, will make a big difference in our channel's content long run. It will help us grow and continue to provide you the content that you want and that you deserve. Also, we have timestamps located below in the description. So if you want to just hear us talk about TCU, or you don't want to hear the college football news and just want to, listen to us dive into this crazy Tech game, feel free to look down below and click on the time codes, and it'll take you right to where you want to go.
Sure.
With all that said, college football news. First thing, someone give me the time right now.
To 5 minutes till 7.
Yeah, and what does that mean?
And that means OU still fucking sucks.
Yes, OU falls apart versus Kansas. They pulled a Texas, let's say, in some regards. Like, what was it? A 21-point comeback that K-State put on them when they had no. I mean, I don't even know what happened. I was watching the game, but I kind of tuned out for a minute, and all of a sudden K-State started rolling, and that little running back. Damn, I'm blanking on his name now.
Deuce Vaughn.
Deuce Vaughn. There you go. Deuce Vaughn.
There we go. Yeah. Out of the Austin area, Round Rock, I'm like, man, they're gonna be talking about him in a year as the guy that Texas didn't recruit. But yeah, what an impressive victory for them. Matt Myers, were you watching as well? And what did you think?
Yeah, I was actually at Pizza Hut, but yeah, I got home and watched the end of the game. It was just like a tale of two different halves. I mean, in the second half, Kansas State just like turned it on. They were just stifling them, and Spencer Rattler and their O-line were just getting worked. And Rattler, clearly the lack of experience was on display. He was just like, he was all on his head, and he was just like the game-sealing interception that he threw, like Drake Stoops was wide open, and he just threw it over his head, airmailed it, interception. So yeah, you're just seeing like a lot of weakness on this OU team. And, I mean, it's exciting for us because we play them in, like 10 days now? So it's coming.
Yeah, very soon. Madrid, what did you think of the game?
Yeah, if you watch the first half, like personally, I was switching back and forth between them and figure what other game. But I was like, change it. Like, it looked Bob Stoops' son's catching contested catches. Like, it's a wrap.
Not bad.
He's not bad. I'm not saying he's not bad, but like that was the storyline, and I was like, I'm not watching this anymore. But yeah, it was more of a gradual realization that they were gonna lose, because it was like, there's no way. Like, there's no way. You don't blow that type of lead. But they looked like, or at least the quarterback of OU looks normal now, like a normal human. So there's gonna be some growing pains with him for sure. Luckily for us. So, yeah, I thought it was a very insightful game. We learned a lot about them, but still very surprised that they lost. I for sure thought they'd pull it out despite all the mistakes.
Yeah, I know. Especially after they lost to K-State last year. Yeah. It made it even more funny that it happened again. I was so – even though, of course, you want to play OU when they're at their height. So if we beat them, we move up quite a bit. But it's always a good day to see OU suck,
Exactly.
Especially after the past decade of us being so inconsistent and them just, one-way ticket to the playoff every year, it feels like. Even though they don't do anything when they get there. But nevertheless, still a ticket and still a Big 12 championship, which – that streak needs to end so soon. And maybe this is the year it happens. So, yeah. So that was a big game. A few other big games that happened. Miami rolling, Florida State. My gracious.
Yeah.
They're looking good, but also Florida State is just, I don't know what's going on with them. I guess new coach, new system.
Yeah, I guess we'll give them time. They look like they're in influx still, but Miami actually just looks dominant. More than just like good than I thought. Just looks dominant, which is fun to see.
Matt Myers, were you going to say something?
Just a comment on Florida State. They're really bad. They're worse than we were with Charlie Strong, which is saying a lot. That whole program's really in a horrible spot. I feel bad for them and their fans, but it's crazy. Just like 6 years ago, they were in the playoff, and now they can't even beat Georgia Tech at home. And
Was that only 6 years ago?
yeah, 2014, they were in the first playoff.
Wow, you're right.
Yeah.
And they were in the other one too, but they didn't make it they didn't win it, but yeah, they were still in it with Jameis. Man, fall from grace. Very much like us, I guess, after 2009 when Colt left. But maybe no, that was even worse. I don't know. Debatable.
This is pretty bad.
Yeah. I'm still – who is their star defensive player from Texas? He was like a 5-star recruit.
Marvin Wilson.
Yeah. Why did he go there?
I mean, at the time they looked like a top 5 program, but Jimbo Fisher kind of ruined them on the way out by not recruiting O-linemen and bad evaluations, and then it's just been downhill. Willie Taggart was horrible too, so it's just been like the perfect storm of just suck for Florida State.
Yeah. Yeah, but like we said last episode, if you watched it, watch out for Derek King. That guy's going on a run. Now a lot of people saying that he's number 3 in Heisman odds. Sam right behind him. And then, of course, you got Trevor Lawrence and I'm not blanking on his name. All of a sudden.
Justin Fields?
Justin Fields, my goodness, yes. Yeah, behind them too. So definitely be on the lookout for them. It's exciting to see Miami be good again. And have an exciting offense. And then staying in the state, we're going to talk a little bit about Florida versus Ole Miss. Ole Miss, I think that game was a little bit misleading because Ole Miss is not a good team. Would you say, Myers? You know SEC maybe the most out of us. Ole Miss isn't that good, right?
No, Ole Miss isn't good. I mean, they're scrappy. They got good offensive players. But no, Florida looked good. Their offense was really good. Kyle Trask was impressive, especially Kyle Pitts. That guy's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like Florida a lot. They got a lot of good players. I like their receiver core, and their O-line looked great. Their running game was okay. It's kind of shaky, but either way, it's just kind of weird to see Kyle Trask putting up 6 touchdown passes.
Yeah, dude.
Under center most of the time, which is just what is this? We haven't seen this in years.
Yeah.
And then a tight end at that going on.
Yeah,
too.
It's crazy. It's like a pro style, but modernized. It's cool. It's cool to watch. And they play A&M in a couple weeks, so that'll be a fun game.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see them rad A&M. Speaking of A&M, touch on them briefly just because it's funny. 5-point victory over the mighty don't even remember their name because Vandy. There we go, mighty Vandy.
What are they called?
The Commodores.
Yeah.
That I'm guessing that was pretty disappointing for the Aggies for their first game out of the gate.
Yeah. I mean, there's no pressure on Jimbo. He's got his money. So
got all the time in the world.
Playing all you want, but he could take an off year and say it's the COVID year. And so
well,
I don't know. And they're losing players too, or before the season too. So
But man, they got that killer senior quarterback though. I mean, they got to take full advantage of that guy before he wins a Heisman and is the number 1 pick in the draft.
It could happen.
No offense to Kellen Mond. I'm sure he's a great dude. And then last game that we're going to touch on, that would be – I had it written down here. Oh, yeah, the game of the week, which got me the most excited, was Hail State and the Pirate coming out, kicking LSU's booty and just dropping dimes all over the place. KJ Costello, my, oh, my. It's so exciting. I love Mike Leach.
I'm so happy he's in the SEC too, man.
I think everyone
I'm just gonna go full offense on you guys, and you just have to deal with
it. It's great because it shuts up those SEC haters that are like, oh, our defense. No, like they make fun of the Pac-12 and the Big 12 for having crap defense.
Stuff,
when it's like, it's maybe y'all's offenses just aren't as potent and creative.
They're old offenses.
So if we take that and bring it into and I mean LSU did it last year, but LSU was also
that was
elite talent.
Mm-hmm.
So that's coupled with it. But when you take like a very modern spread air raid scheme and drop it in the SEC, it still shows you that hey, it's really hard to compete against.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I was saying it earlier that I think everyone that likes college football, I think in a way likes Mike Leach. He's just such a odd duck, but he just mixes things up. And the Pirate Man,
mm-hmm.
Matt Myers, thoughts on the game? Did you see that at all?
Yeah, I just want to retaliate with LSU. Remember they were saying, "Oh, DBU gave up 600 yards." Well, DBU just gave up 600 yards to Hail State, so
that's
just how it goes when you play against schemes and talent like that when it's used correctly, and we see that a lot, like with Texas Tech and stuff. So,
mm-hmm.
welcome to the air raid, I guess.
The modern football.
Yeah.
It's a new era.
Yeah.
New era in the SEC. I wonder when they're going to start copying, because it's only a matter of time. And then everyone's going to be on the air raid system, and it'll be great.
Yeah. One last thing about it, I just think it's great that KJ Costello gets to redefine his career from being like a pro-style quarterback at Stanford, and now he's just complete 180 gunslinger in the SEC with Mike Leach. It's just kind of hard to wrap my head around, but it's pretty cool to see.
Did he transfer because of Mike Leach, or did he do that before Leach got there?
Because of Mike Leach.
Yeah,
smart dude.
Yeah.
If I was a QB, I'd go right to Mike Leach. I mean, he turned Minshew into what he is basically.
He's gonna get drafted now, thanks to Mike Leach.
Costello, yeah, definitely. Well, cool. That wraps up our college football news. So we will hop into a wild review of the game that was Texas versus Texas Tech. The highest scoring game in Texas Longhorn history.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
That I heard. I heard it, I think, in a press conference or something that I watched this week. So that's cool. I mean, I kind of assumed that, considering how high those scores were. But before we really break down the game, initial thoughts. We'll start out with Myers here. What did you think of the game, just off the top of your head?
It's like hard to pick a place to start when you talk about
Yeah.
But I'll just like two sentences. Like, the defense is horrible. Sam Ehlinger is probably the best quarterback in the country.
Wow. You think so?
Yeah, him or Trevor Lawrence. I mean, right now, that's what I would say. Yeah.
I mean, I think I'd say Sam is the best. He just does a little more of everything.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence has always been like the better prospect, but college football quarterback as of right now, I think Sam is one step above him. Personally, just how productive he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the way that he puts the team on his back.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, Trevor Lawrence does that too, but he's also on the best team in college football.
An amazing defense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, with all the right prospects and not having to deal with potentially bad coaching decisions. Madrid, now your turn. Let me hear about Tech.
It's hard to think of like things I was so happy about. I mean, I'm glad to see Joshua Moore stand out among the receiving core. I was really, really worried we were going to have like a wide receiver by committee type deal going on where we didn't really have a go-to on, which I think is which I think is important to have. I thought it was going to be Tariq Black because of the seniority factor and how he transferred here and everything. But I'm glad that it's Joshua. I just forgot how talented that guy is. but that's as good as it gets for me. I mean, we could talk about Brendan Eagles finally showing up too. That was really good to see. But that defense is just glaring to me. For now, I guess we could blame it on COVID and just be like, they haven't tackled as much. New system, exactly. The whole narrative and everything. But it's about to be game 3 next week, and and if I see the same thing, I'm gonna be. This is just who we are. Like we're gonna put up points, but we're gonna be susceptible to points. And it's just a whole reversal of what the last decade has been. Like you wanted a good offense, here it is, but it came at a price. But it bugs me though, is because the talent's there on the defense too, minus maybe the linebackers, but it's just very worrisome. And I think we're going to find ourselves in these type of shootouts a lot this year, and hoping Sam could just play like the best player in the country, like he is every single time down the stretch. So I know I went a little longer, but that's what's on my mind.
Yeah. No, I definitely echo those same sentiments. My only hope, though, is that if we end up in these shootouts, that we don't resort back to last year's play calling. Matt Myers and I were discussing this a little bit before you hopped on and we started recording, that it was so bizarre how in the second half we just seemed to completely regress offensively with the play calling and such back to, last year, essentially. No creativity, a lot of just outside passes, screens that weren't working, very predictable. And we were running the ball, I think, a little bit too much, considering how largely ineffective we were all game. I mean, shout out to Keontae, because he played really hard and provided a lot of juice when we needed it. Which is good to see from a upperclassman like himself. I think he's got the starting role now pretty locked down.
Yeah, I think so.
Especially after Bijan almost freaking died. That was I thought he was paralyzed for. I mean, he very quickly moved, so I knew he wasn't paralyzed. But after watching the replay or seeing the
he's lucky he's 18, man.
Dude, my God.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I thought his football career was over at that point.
Yeah.
For hurdling a guy of all things. But yeah, we need to figure out what is that, why they resorted to that play calling, and why, just bad, predictable, bland, all that good stuff. Not Yursic's offense at all, it seemed like. Myers, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, as bad as we were in the third quarter, I mean, I'm guessing Texas Tech made some adjustments, and we're doing our same thing where we're just being
credit to Tech. They had a very good game plan, and they made adjustments very well. They absolutely deserved to win the game, but continue.
Right. But yeah, and then we did a classic Tom Herman. We had a pretty good lead, I guess. I mean, a 10-point, 7-point lead. It would go back and forth, it seemed like. And then, I mean, it kind of all changed when Deshaun Jameson muffed that ball, and everything changed. They had all the momentum. Our offense got rattled. Our offensive line, took the third quarter and most of the fourth quarter off. After they started off the game pretty well, I thought. And Sam got sacked a few times for the first time this year. But, I mean, you got to step back and look at it. I mean, the offense by itself – I mean, we put up 63 points in the game. The offense by itself, taking away the special teams touchdown and the overtime touchdown, which I guess you don't even need to do that, but I'm going to. Still 49 points, or 48 points. That's
wow.
That's more than enough to win in the Big 12. It's just –
that's tough to match too.
Yeah, seriously. The problem is, I mean, we talked about this a lot last year and the year before with Herman, is he runs those death camp fall practices where so much hitting and a lot of injuries. And, I mean, look at us now. We're not as physical as we were at the beginning of last season, but we're also way healthier than we were at the beginning of last season. We didn't have a single guy have a serious injury against Tech or UTEP, really. I mean, besides Whittington, but he's made of glass, it looks like.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm just hoping our defense can adjust to the physicality and the speed because, I mean, we asked for this. I mean, I asked for this. I wanted to stay healthy and just go easy in practice because I thought the culture of our team would just be always physical, but definitely need to kick it up a little bit this week in practice. But I mean, our team's typically physical. Like we usually don't miss too many tackles, like even last year. So I think it may have just been a fluke with like the 99-degree weather, just the adjustment to the speed. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely surprising. I did not expect it to give up 56 points.
No, not at all. And I mean, from kickoff, I could tell that Tech really was excited about this game, which made me really nervous. even though we drove down the field on the opening drive like knife through butter, basically, that was good to see. But the second that Tech got the ball, I'm like, oh crap, it's gonna be a long day because they were driving maybe even quicker, quicker than us actually, and. Yeah, our defense just – I wouldn't say that we looked lost, but, I mean, there were a lot of holes, and our coverage was pretty soft, and Tech did a great job just kind of dissecting us apart, which for so early in the season, that it's not a good sign. So I'm hoping that things change on that end. In regards to our offense, just definitely our offensive line – really struggled. I don't even think Tech was getting much pressure on our line, but they still somehow found a way to get to Sam all in the third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, do we
Denzel
move people around?
Denzel Okafor and the right side of the line had issues, like mainly, but I mean, yeah, it was just all around a lot of just flags and just really just not a clean game at all. I mean, I like Hookfin, but I mean, there's a reason he's not starting. I don't know if he's fully healthy right now, but I mean, maybe look at getting Hookfin in the mix, or Tyler Johnson is kind of, I don't know what he's doing. He came in like out of shape, but I mean, there's talent in the room. I mean, all the freshmen, Logan Parr, Jake Majors, Andre Karich, those are some good players, but you don't want to have too many young people on the line. I guess Christian Jones is like a sophomore now, but yeah, it's just the whole line looked bad in spurts, and they got rattled definitely down the stretch.
Yep. And receiver-wise, it's funny because Myers, you were talking about how in the last show we did, you're like, we have a lot of depth, but at the same time, we don't. And I think that was prominently on display in this game. It's like, oh wait, without Whittington and Jake Smith, Josh Moore's really good, but Tariq Black kind of disappeared this game. I don't think he didn't catch a single ball.
He didn't record a catch. No.
I think he was hurt. He got banged up, but he was playing down the stretch. But
yeah, I saw him on the screen a few times. He was out there. I mean, probably not the whole game, but I mean, he was there and didn't even hear his name the entire time.
Did any of you guys see Brendan Schooler being as major part of the offense as he is? That's something I didn't know.
Are we surprised?
I don't know. Was that a?
I don't think it was. It wasn't supposed to be that way. I think it's because of Jake Smith and Whittington both being hurt. Mm-hmm. I don't even think Schooler typically plays slot, but they moved him there for this game just because they needed experience. Would you say, Myers, that was the case?
Yeah, it was definitely out of necessity, but he's definitely earned his playing time. I mean, he's going to be on the field now on the outside. He's going to get some reps, probably eat into Tariq Black's reps, and Brendan Eagles probably be in the mix there. I mean, Josh Moore's kind of solidified himself, but yeah, he'll definitely still be getting a lot of reps. And it's good to see. He had that one drop in the end zone, but everything else he did was really good. I mean, he was blocking downfield too, really good on screens and stuff. So yeah, I mean, he's been awesome. He's been a great addition, and Kai Money played a lot, which is, I mean, he catches the ball, he does what he needs to, but I mean, we want Jake Smith back just for that explosive. We need that dynamic player in the spot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it was nice to see Brendan Eagles him and Sam get back on that level of chemistry that they kind of had part of last season. He's now starting for the TCU game, so I guess he's now earned his wings and now can go back to maybe not being wide receiver number one. I think Josh Morris kind of has that locked down at this point, but we'll see. But it's exciting to see someone that's as talented as Eagles finally kind of get back to where he should be in that regard. But outside of them and the receivers, I mean, Kate Brewer didn't have a very good game. Typically, he's kind of the security blanket for this team, and he had a lot of key drops on third down, which was disappointing, but I'm sure he can rebound from that. And then real quickly, just to kind of wrap up the Tech recap, special teams. My, oh my. So many good and bad things happen for special teams. But let's talk about the bad first. Our punting. Why can't we block? Why is this an issue? On both sides, on receiving and punting. We got people muffing punts again after a year. Tom Herman said that he corrected this. I trust Deshaun Jameson really well, but somehow he muffs it, and Tech gets a touchdown out of it. And then Tech also got a touchdown out of, our line not being able to block 2 times in a row, for that matter, and destroying Buchevsky, who, it's not his fault that they're coming through. Thoughts on punting?
Yeah, it just feels like that's one side of the ball that we've just, I guess, historically or recent trend has just not been something that's been secure when it really, really needs to be. Like I said, good things and bad things. Hell, Tyler Owens blocked a kick and got a touchdown, and Cameron Dicker made sure we got the onside with a nice onside on top of that. So
that was amazing.
We can't say they did horrible. We can't say they did particularly well because there's still holes on that side. So, I mean, it came down to luck at the end with the special teams play, and I guess we wouldn't be there to even win the game without them. So yeah, just you need to fix those little things. It's just holding a block for a little longer. Is the main thing.
Yeah, I noticed on the block. I don't know what they're called, like the swing men. I forget what they're called, like the 3 people that are like close the gate and block on the corner. I think we saw Cade Brewer and somebody else. Well, we need to get I'll just get people in there that'll hit people. I mean, I thought I saw Cade Brewer just get bullied. You can't be getting bullied right there. It is like the last line of defense. And when we started going rugby kicking, it looked a lot better. I mean, it bought Buchevsky more time, and I'm sure that's what he's more accustomed to, being from Australia. So I think we might just have to go to that full time, and just hopefully you can get the bounces right, and just avoid, just because he's had a lot of shanks, and then we're getting blocked now. So I think definitely looking at rugby kicking for the foreseeable future would be the best move.
I agree.
Definitely. Any last thoughts for the Tech game?
I really thought the play that scored the touchdown for the 2-point conversion to Joshua Moore up the seam when it was 3rd and 24 or something like that, because of all the penalties we had. I thought that was just, if you told 2 years ago, I'd be like, no way. And even in the moment, I was like, no way, game's over. But there was a right play, and we had a GOAT quarterback, and we hit right in the middle. I just didn't see it coming, and I don't know, maybe that's a sign of better things to come that we just showed up there. I thought that was really telling, in my opinion.
Myers.
It was bad, really bad game, but I mean, we're 2-0. And I was looking at the schedule, and you know how Herman's just kind of bad as a favorite and really bad on the road. We got 2 more games on the road in the schedule that will be challenging, really challenging. Oklahoma State and Kansas State, and those aren't for a while. So, I mean, we play Kansas on the road too, but I think we can definitely win that. So, I mean, it's just kind of survive and advance on the road as a favorite. This is what Herman is at this point. We can't play dominant football on the road for whatever reason. Hopefully that improves over the season. I mean, in 2018, we got some momentum and started playing good on the road. And we saw some signs last year, but we just need to definitely take care of business at home. And, I mean, we're 2-0, and OU's 1-1. Sam Ehlinger has the most touchdowns in the country, and Spencer Rattler has the most interceptions in the country, Power 5, I think. So, I mean, we're in a good spot, and we just got to clean up that defense and play a little more physical this week against TCU.
Yeah, definitely. For me, final thoughts. We won. That was a tall task with a little over 3 minutes remaining that we somehow came. Even if you're playing like a horrible team, I mean, Tech played really hard, so credit to them. But like, even maybe not UTEP, but like, even like some low, like a Kansas, if we came back in 3 minutes, being down 15 and won it in overtime, that alone is just really hard and really impressive to do. And that takes great effort on all sides of the ball, offense, defense, special teams. I mean, obviously our offense is what ignited the comeback, but everyone started doing their job at that point. And it all started with Sam literally saying, "Hey, we're going to win this game. We're going to come back." They left us too much time, actually, is what he said exactly, according to Herman. So that, even though there were so many nasty things about this game and really disappointing things, the fact that we somehow won, I think, is a very bright sign of maybe showing that, hey, this team is different. And a lot of those games, like, because every year up to this point that I can recall, we would have lost that game easily. We would have folded and lost, and it would have been another ugly, ugly game. I mean, we saw it probably a million times, even last season. So it shows me that there's something different. It shows me that Sam is maybe just scratching the surface of what he can be, and that he can really ball out at this point. So I'm excited to see, how the rest of the season, how he continues to improve, because I'm sure he will, as well as the rest of the team. But long story short, it's exciting to see that we got a win, despite all the adversity being against us in that amount of time, regardless of it being Texas Tech. But let's fix up all of these errors that we committed in this game. All right, so on to the last part of the video here, probably what you've been wanting to see the most, the TCU preview. Texas goes into the game home at DKR as 13-point favorites over the Horned Frogs. But TCU, man, they've had our number for the past 5 years, maybe even more so. They've won 4 of the last 5 meetings with us, even though these past couple, we've probably been they've been the underdog as opposed to us. So it's always going to be a tough game. Gary Patterson himself says that this is one of his favorite games of the year. They've always prepared for it really well. So 13 points. What do y'all think of that line? Too big, too little?
There's no way we cover that.
I agree. It's like
as do I. Yeah, it definitely. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if we covered it, because that would be a sign of improvement. And I do think that this team has improved over the past, especially over last year, at least from us somehow winning that game that we were just talking about versus Tech. But at the same time, I mean, TCU always plays us so well and so hard. And I mean, it's very evident in the way that they prepare for this game. But yeah, 13-point favorites. Kind of the test of the game is seeing if can Texas, because they didn't show it last week, but can Texas at home against a team that they're superior to, that still plays hard, can they beat them convincingly? That'll be the question of the day whenever they kick off at 11 a.m. Guys, opening thoughts about the TCU game outside of the spread.
TCU lost to Iowa State. I watched that game. They looked a lot better when they put Max Duggan in the second half. I don't know what they were thinking by not starting him. But
I
you
thought
can
the
be
same
sure that Gary Patterson will be starting Max Duggan and pulling out all the tricks and stops to beat us because he hates Texas. So, I mean, we're definitely going to see a really motivated TCU team. And their defense, I thought, would be really good. On paper, they got a lot of great talent on there, but they didn't play too well against Iowa State. But then again, it's just probably Russ, just like us. So I would expect to see their defense play a lot better. But, yeah, I mean, we get Jake Smith back, which is huge. But, I mean, I don't know if I want to get into it all their personnel right now, but they got great players. Like you said, that we're more talented than them, but they got a lot of talent themselves. So, I mean, I'm not expecting us to go in here and beat them handily at all. I think it'll be a nail biter or we lose. So I think it'll be a really tough game.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, I second that sentiment too. I kind of foresee a game that's where we're up, where we kind of get up on them fast, but then they start clawing their way back, and we're kind of holding our breath towards the end again. Yeah, I mean, against TCU, man, we're gonna get their best punch every single time. I was surprised we didn't see a lot of Zach Evans in the last game. I guess he's still buried in the depth chart, still prove it as a freshman, which I guess makes sense. But he's probably up there. They're one of their best weapons that they have. So time will tell when we see him. Other than that, I'm just happy to have Jake Smith back again. That's huge for the middle of the field. Just another playmaker out there would be nice. So yeah, I see it as a shootout as usual. Just trying to make sure we score more than them. Really.
Yeah, definitely. It's obviously a game to be a little bit nervous about when you look at the history, recent history, that is, of Texas versus TCU. So it makes me kind of skeptical of why they predict us to be 13-point favorites. But
I don't know what they're looking at.
yeah, I mean, I guess they're not digging too deep into like the annals of this rivalry and everything that's gone on these past few years. So yeah, in terms of what do you guys expect to see in terms of our how we can slow down their offense? So let's touch on our defense first, since that seemed to be kind of a sore thumb in this Tech game. How do we rebound from Tech, and what do you expect to see against TCU?
Yeah, our defense, our best opportunity to really just set the tone in this game is on the D line. Their offensive line gave up 7 sacks against Iowa State, and they didn't have that great of a day rushing, I don't think. Yeah, 99 yards rushing. So I think we definitely need to finally, our defensive line that we've been touting, it's really talented, all that. Yeah, it's whatever. They need to make a statement. This is their chance to go put up great stats and go control the game against the O-line that's really bad. I was on the TCU message board, and they were just crying about their O-line the entire game. So I think defensively that's where it's all going to have to start. And then their receiving core, they got some players, but not to the talent that Texas Tech had. So I think our secondary should also be in a spot where it won't be quite as challenging, even with Max Duggan slinging it. But, I mean, I could still see Tay Barber, Quentin Johnston, Artavius Lynn just lighting us up if we do what we do and just miss tackles and let receivers just get wide open 10 yards downfield. And so, I mean, D-line needs to step up early, and we need to get some sacks and definitely pressure Matthew Downing because he's still very rusty, I would imagine. I mean, he's played one half of football this season and missed a lot of practice. So that's we got to get to him early if you're the defense.
Do we have any idea if he'd be starting over Duggan? My assumption is that it's clearly Duggan. But
did I say Downing? Oh, I meant Max Duggan. Max Duggan is definitely going to start. There's no way Patterson will leave him out unless he has a heart attack or something.
Yeah. Go ahead, Madrid.
No, I was just going to say I agree for the most part. Texas, it's not offensively not the same as Texas Tech. Obviously, not all Big 12 teams are built like that, but they still have really good playmakers on the outside, enough to give our secondary, from what I've seen, some trouble, especially with Tay Barber. So, yeah, it's really just another one of those tests to see where our secondary is at again, and hopefully they step up.
Do you think there's a way for us to, since Tech exploited it so unbelievably well last game, is there a way for us to cover up our linebacker issues versus TCU, especially against someone like Gary Patterson who knows defense?
No, Gary Patterson's definitely gonna
Definitely sees that.
How he is. He's on film. He's already got the whole game plan ready. They're gonna definitely terrorize our linebackers in the middle of the field. That's where they're gonna go immediately. So, yeah, that's definitely the point of weakness, I think, immediately for TCU to attack. So, yeah, that's definitely going to happen. So, hopefully, Juwan Mitchell and DeMarvion can
get ready.
Step up. Yeah,
yeah, they got to learn fast.
Players, man, it's not coming to fruition like I thought it would.
Yeah, it might just take a little bit of time, but we'll have to see. Kind of a random question. What about Delhi? Has he been hurt? He's been hurt, right? Or has he just not been really playing?
I don't know the answer to that because I heard he had a great fall camp. Looked good, had a good offseason.
He played, yeah.
But he was suited up against UTEP, and Herman said he held him out because he just hadn't had enough practice yet. So, I mean, maybe he had a little setback or something, but I didn't see him play against Texas Tech. We could use him, it looks like.
Yeah. No, it'd be nice to see him get back into the fold. And I think he had a good game against TCU last year. I know he had an interception against them. Or no, wait. Or was that West Virginia?
Yeah, that was West Virginia.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind then. But still, it'd be nice. It'd be nice to see some depth making moves, as well as that former walk-on from San Antonio. Damn, what's his name?
Court Jaquez.
Yeah. See if he can make any moves too. But now let's switch over to our offense. One thing that was very evident that Myers touched on is that TCU was very susceptible in this first game to the big play. I didn't watch the actual Iowa State game, but I did watch their highlights, and it seemed to be just big play after big play after big play, big chunk yardage. Do we expect that we're going to be able to attack like Iowa State did, or do you think that Gary Patterson is going to have these guys fixed up and less susceptible to that?
I mean, based on what Iowa State did, I mean, it looks like the big play will be there. I mean, Brees Hall had a 75-yard touchdown run. Keeney Nagani, whatever his name is, the backup running back, had a 50-yard run. The Landon Akers had 50-yard receiving touchdown or play. And there's a lot of chunk plays that I saw.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you don't see that typically out of TCU. They're usually really good about stopping that. But, I mean, at this point in the season, I think we can definitely go downfield and try to test them, even though they have a really talented secondary. Or maybe it's Keontae or Roshan breaking off big runs. That's definitely possible too. But, yeah, chunk plays, I think that'll definitely be an option against TCU, at least based on what we saw last week.
Yeah, I think it might be a big rushing game for us. I have no worries that we'll be able to score on them. That's the one thing I'm confident about with this team this year. Brees Hall is incredible running back, 18 for 154 and 3 touchdowns. So, yeah, it may not be as one-sided with one back, but I expect at least Keontae and Roshan to have both solid, if not big games, and the rest of the offense in itself to come along just like they have passing-wise the last 2 games. But the running game for sure this year, this game, I'm looking at.
And then I guess final question that I have for y'all in regards to our offense. Can our line hold up against the almighty Garrett Wallow that has terrorized us I'm so glad – he's a senior, right?
He's got to be.
Yeah,
he's been around for a while, and he's been giving us problems every damn game. I'm shocked that he hasn't gotten more accolades Like, did he get like a Biletnikoff nomination at any point in his career, or is he only good against us?
Well, definitely not a Blitnikoff nomination, but I think he's got like all 12 honors and stuff. No, he's really good. He's always like, even as a freshman, he's
Biletnikoff is safety, right?
No, it's receiver.
Oh, damn. What's the linebacker one again?
There's a few. I think it's like Nagurski and some other things.
I think it started with a B. Anyway,
yeah.
Continue on.
Yeah, I mean, the strength of their team is probably Garrett Wallow and D. Winters on defense. They've two good linebackers. And then, obviously, their two safeties are really good. Ardarius Washington and Trayvon Morig, who's like a projected first-rounder. So he's supposed to be like better than Stearns, like the real deal. And I probably believe it. I mean, TCU definitely has produced NFL talent on defense, like especially in the last like 5 years. And they also got like Kendrick Van Zandt. They got some good players. Yeah. I mean, they're just Marcel Brooks, the transfer from LSU, 5-star linebacker. He got his feet wet last week. I expect to see him a little bit more this week. And I mean, they got talent, man. Zach Evans too. He's been out a lot on offense because of like COVID and contact tracing, so he missed a lot of practice. But Patterson said he had a good practice Sunday, so I would imagine that they're probably going to try to play him against us, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him break off a few good runs.
I agree. It's Butkus, by the way, not Biletnikoff.
Yeah.
But Matt, your thoughts on their defense against our O-line?
I think Matt touched on it mostly. Just a lot of work done needs to be done with to prepare this week. TCU is always going to be solid on defense, so just pay attention to the right side more often, and that's the key right there for me.
Yeah. They don't have like that rainmaker. I guess Corey Bethley's good, but I think the strength of their defense is definitely beyond their D-line this year. I mean, as you saw, like they run all over them. It looks like last week. So I think our offensive line, they come out focused and not like just stupid. I think we can definitely
I agree.
Make some holes and protect Sam.
Yeah. And then I guess any other final thoughts before we dive into our predictions for the game?
Quentin Johnston should have been a Longhorn.
Should have.
He'll probably tear us up somehow Saturday.
Yeah, guy's first touchdown. I think it was the first one of the game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right out of the gate. So I'm still amazed how we somehow lost out on him. But yeah, definitely someone to look out for. Number one.
All right, let's go into predictions. I think we're all set.
Let's do it. You want to lead us off, Myers?
Yeah, I'll go first. So I have us winning on a Dicker the Kicker game winner, 38-35. I just think it's gonna be one of those games, classic TCU game where we're just like stressed out like crazy. But since we're at home, I think we'll get it done in the end. But if you're on the road, I would definitely pick us to lose this game. Just the history of TCU, Gary Patterson, Max Duggan last year. Sam Unger had a horrible game against TCU last year. A lot of those guys are back on their defense, so they definitely know how to game plan for us, and they have for quite a while now. So I expect a really just miserable, like frustrating game, but I think we'll put up enough points to just narrowly outscore them and win by a field goal.
Madrid.
Again, I don't know where they get these spreads from. I don't know what they're looking at. 13-point spread against a known team that we struggle with. I don't believe that at all. I do think we get out early. We were up early, and towards the end, we're just hoping that they don't complete a drive to tie it up or take a lead or something like that. We're gonna be playing to keep a lead the whole time. So that's why I got it's 42-35. It's a win. It's at home. I think it's I think we definitely win, but we're gonna have that heart attack feeling for a little bit. So yeah, 42-35 by a touchdown.
I myself, very much same sentiments as y'all. It'd be nice to see us cover that spread. Do I think we will? No, I do not. TCU plays us hard, and I guess the only way that I could see us covering the spread is it'll be similar as if the game came out similarly to what it did 2 seasons ago when we played them at DKR, where we just kind of stole it at the end. We didn't steal it at the end, but like the points started adding up more so at the end of the game, and TCU committed some turnovers trying to get back into it. But yeah, I have us very similar to what Madrid predicted, being 38-31, so winning by a touchdown. I think we'll still win like moderately comfortably, so it won't be like we get a last-second touchdown or anything like that. More so of us being up and TCU trying to get back into it and can't quite get there. But yeah, so a close game nonetheless is kind of what I predict. It'll be nice to see though if we can, like I said at the beginning, if we can finally show that hey, Texas can compete with the team that shows up fundamentally sound and beat them because they're better and not because they're being outplayed or they're playing down to a lower team. So, anyone else? Final thoughts, TCU?
Last thought, Deshaun Jameson's going to make up for his muffed punt, and he's going to return a punt or a kickoff to the end zone this game. He's been close. If he gets a crack of daylight, he's gone. He's really dynamic. So Saturday, it's going to happen. Deshaun Jameson's going to score a touchdown.
Nice.
Love it.
Nice. Just like Duvernay did. Maybe that was a sign of things to come.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to the Duve and the boys in the NFL. Well, cool. I guess that wraps up this episode. As always, remember to subscribe if you haven't already. If you do, thank you, and thank you for watching. Be sure to be on the lookout for all those things that we mentioned in this game on Saturday. It's an early kickoff, so get up bright and early.
Mm-hmm.
Have your mimosas, your scrambled eggs, little brunch, and cheer on the Longhorns at 11 a.m. With Joe Klatt and Gus Johnson calling it out. So better announcers than the last one. Let's just say that. But from all of us here, hook 'em and go Texas.
Yeah.